Hi and welcome to OnSide SA. It's time where the last 31 have got to decide who they're going to pick in last one standing, and the new competition starts. We're going to have these breaks throughout the year, so we've had to try and stagger it right. Budge?
Paul, we got the new competition. What was funny is about 2 or 3 days ago, I had 4 people phoned me asking me, and I told them when it was. I realised they were all on Liverpool in the first competition. So they've been chomping at the bit to get going, but it is this week, Paul. Difficult week.
And people are asking if it's 100 Rand a week. It's 100 Rand, and as
it's
long
100
as
Rand per entry for the competition.
Yeah,
so
100 Rand per entry.
Week,
yeah. We're getting a lot of people to take 5, 6, 8, 10, but they don't do any better than the guy who has one. You need a lot of luck and you need results. And people who try to get on Liverpool early, they went out early. That's why the competition's down to 31 left. And the new one starts this week. Yeah. It all starts on Saturday. The early game is the North London Derby.
Yeah.
So that should be very interesting. And that's with the 5 ladies. But let's just go to the 31 people. 5 ladies remain.
Yeah.
I go through them. Michelle Tovey and Catherine Armstrong are always in.
Yeah.
They
2 former winners.
2 former winners, both very, very good. Julie Usher, do you know her?
The postman's wife.
I keep getting that wrong. I know she's Julia. I didn't know she worked in the movies. Yeah. Montana, obviously the Werners, and Tennille. Gee, that's fantastic. The Werner
Family
sisters.
Edition.
Family are going well. And then the international's still in. Francois Dumi, another.
Mauritius. He's the only guy with 2 picks.
Fantastic, eh? Tubbs Riddell, a football aficionado, and Kevin
Power, a Fulham guy. Fulham supporter, season ticket holder.
Okay, and then a quick list of who's in, if we just run through it quickly for you. Julian Naidu, Jared Werners, Lawrence Werners, Callum McManus.
Michael's son.
Is that Callum, eh? Andy Keane.
Yeah.
Minky Marinkovitz.
Mark, yeah, Minks, yeah.
Minks, Mark Marinkovitz, good man. Pierre Talon.
Yeah.
Graham Hawkins. Well done, he loves his Spurs too. Gavin Wright from Joburg.
Yeah.
Well done. I can't get this one. Franz
Geet, Mansfield boy.
I don't know.
No, you won't. One of Mood's mates in Joburg.
Patrice Masson,
another Mansfield boy, one of my guys.
Sean Singleton, the legend.
Legend's still going.
The legend's going well. He gets into those scrums, doesn't he? Well, the size of him, he should. Craig Williamson.
Yeah.
Robbie Burns breaks.
Yeah.
James Goodman, Jimbo.
Can you believe it?
Gee, the green jacket winner. Myself, Paul Lafferty, still in. Devon O'Connor.
Yeah.
Paddy Loca, Phineas, going well. The Greek god, Phineas is going well. And then you've got Kevin Power. The Powers are doing well.
Yeah.
And I don't know this one. Is it Fabio?
Fabio Rosa, lives across the road. Yeah. Roger Scott recommended him. Spoke to him a few times, Fabio.
One former champion. Who is it?
Man, without this, Gary Citron.
Without the E. Well done. Gary Citron's still in. He's our champion at the moment. Tote favourite to win it. Always interesting. Sonny Bill Dutoy and Mark Fullion.
Mark Fullion, yeah.
Oh, well done to them. Okay. Right, we've been watching all the soccer. Have we managed to get Steve on the line?
He's in Madeira, I think. Steve, are you still there?
I'm here, still in Madeira. Good morning.
Morning. How are you doing out there, Steve?
Very well, yeah. On to my 3rd book. It's very relaxing.
Well done. I'm going to give you a name of a book to read. Red Notice by Bill Browder, okay?
Is that the one they've made a film out of?
I don't know if they've made a film about it. One of the best books I've read in 20 years. Red Notice.
Okay.
Red Notice by Bill Browder.
I thought you were going to say
a red notice is what Interpol puts on someone when they want to catch him. And a red notice out on Stevie B's hiding in Madeira, I think.
Okay.
It's a great book. And when you've read that, you can read the follow-up. But you can't put them down. But anyway, let's talk about your beloved England.
Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, I mean, the performance against Italy was woeful. It was a better performance in patches against Germany, but unfortunately, they let it slip at the end with a poor goalkeeping mistake. But it's still very worrying. No wins in the 6 Nation League games, no goals in the first half, any of the games for England. So, and with injuries now to both Stones and Maguire, although that might save Maguire from any further embarrassment. Yeah. It's not looking. I think if England get out the group, it'll probably be as good as people expect at the moment. Yeah. It's very worrying.
Yeah. Sorry, just to interrupt you guys. Which teams of these international games, coming back to the domestic league, which teams have got major injuries?
I don't know. Steve, have you read anything? I haven't read anything.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle have still got a few players out. Alexander Isak is going to be out for the game at Fulham, I understand.
Yeah.
And they've got a few coming back from injury. Obviously, we know that John Stones has gone off with a hamstring, and he could be out for a few weeks. Harry Maguire, although he's not necessarily starting for United, but he's tweaked a hamstring. So, until they report back, and I think once from tomorrow and the Premier League managers start they have the roundup of press conferences, then we'll know more.
Yeah, okay.
Steve, Brighton's new manager, Roberto De Zerbi, do you know much about him?
No, I mean, other than obviously he comes with a sort of a good reputation in the last few years. He had a couple of good seasons at Sassuolo in Italy. Considering they're a pretty small club, he got them into the top 10 both seasons, and then was sort of headhunted by Shakhtar Donetsk and was doing very well there until obviously the war. So he is a bit of an unknown quantity, but evidently he likes to play attacking football. And again, when they brought in Graham Potter, it was fairly left field, and that seemed to work well for them. So, I think it's certainly not a name that was being mentioned before they actually appointed him.
Yeah, I remember watching his sides. They're always good to watch. Scored plenty of goals. Now, is your brother happy that Watford have replaced the manager with Slaven Bilic?
No, I think it's just another embarrassment for the club. 10 games in. It really hasn't been given that much of a chance.
Yeah.
And the spokesman for the family again just said, they gave him an opportunity to show what he was capable of, and he didn't do it. Whether or not they obviously felt they made a mistake. Slaven Bilic knows the Championship, has got West Brom out before, so but it's just another and it's not even, I think, the quickest, that they've sacked somebody. 10 games in is nothing really, is it? But it's a poison chalice, and if you do well, fine, and if you don't, you're going to get a payoff. And I think that's the way that managers probably look at it when they go there.
Yeah, totally agree. But just wonder if they, what length of contract they're giving these managers. They don't last like 3 months, let alone giving them 3 seasons.
They give them 18 months, the worst scenarios.
Yeah. Anyway, Steve, big weekend of football this weekend, and nothing bigger for the North London fans and Arsenal, Tottenham. I'll get Paul's opinion shortly, but how do you see that going?
Yeah, it's. Last season, at the end of the season, it was a defining game that Tottenham won convincingly and got that Champions League place. You'd think that Arsenal would be smarting after that, but interesting. But Tottenham obviously. We're on firing on all cylinders with Son getting back to his goal-scoring best in that last game against Leicester. So I think there'll definitely be goals. Yeah. But I can see Tottenham at the very least holding Arsenal.
Okay, well, the odds have just come on now, Steve.
Big odds, Tottenham.
Paul, well, what do you think, Paul? I know you're a storm.
It's a game that if we came when we lost, I wouldn't lose sleep in it. But I just think we're on a bit of a roll at the moment, and we could beat them. I think player for player, it's a good game. I think their weakness is still at the back. Our strength is at the front, and our defence has been tight. So it's going to be a battle. I think in the midfield we might shade them if we play the right formation. But it's their home ground. They've won everything there. They're good. If you don't respect them, you're going to get hurt. They're going to come. To me, probably the right place, 28-10 the draw, but I'm hoping to win. Yeah,
I fancy Spurs, Steve. Just watching Arsenal against United. When they come up against the big teams that get stuck into them, I just don't know how much they relish the battle. 26-10 and more than likely shortened during the week. But I'm not really. I know they have done well, Arsenal. They beat the bad sides. But with Spurs playing that extra sweeper and Dyer's in form, I think they can neutralise Gabriel Jesus. And I fancy Spurs to get a result here. I think there'll be goals.
I agree, actually. I think those are, as they stand, those are very good odds for Tottenham. And I'll,
Right, I've got to start looking at these other games, Steve, to find the last one standing.
All right, Steve, Bournemouth versus Brentford. Any news on the new ownership at Bournemouth?
Yeah, it looks like it's scheduled to go through any day. And I think that after sort of what happened in the summer with obviously the older owners not really prepared to put any money in and then sacking the manager, I think Bournemouth fans are probably relieved about that, but they can't do anything until January at the earliest. Yeah, I think this could be a close game. You know, I mean, it's I mean, Bournemouth have obviously showed a bit more fight since Scott Parker left, and I could see them potentially holding Brentford. I think it'll be low scoring, but I think Brentford will score a goal, and if they don't mark Ivan Toney tightly, then he'll probably will get on the score sheet. But I can see Bournemouth possibly, maybe they cancel each other out a bit.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, no, I think a draw is on the cards. Brentford have got the ability to win this game, but I'm with Steve. I think a draw. I think the harder game is the next game. Yeah.
I must say, my thing is, have a look at Bournemouth. I didn't fancy them at Notts Forest, 2 down, came back 1-3-2. Against Newcastle, they fought hard. This new manager or assistant manager or temporary manager has got them going well. I'm disappointed with Brentford against Arsenal. Yes, they just seem to throw the towel in. I know it was an early kickoff, but this could be, it should be Brentford for me, but the 5-2 the draws definitely. Now, speaking to a good mate of mine, Garth Whitehead, who's a staunch Chelsea supporter, he said Crystal Palace have got the hoodoo sign over Chelsea.
Oh, like Chelsea.
How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, look, I mean, we don't know what sort of side that Graham Potter is going to put out. He obviously swapped it around a bit when they played in the Champions League a week or so ago. We don't know. Obviously, they've had a lot of the players have been out on international duty. It's going to be very interesting to see what sort of team he plays. I think once he's got the 11 that he wants, I think they'll start to come good. I think you're right. It's going to be a tight game. I think of the two, I still fancy Chelsea to edge it, but I think it's going to be a fairly close game.
If you look at Chelsea, their players did well in the international. Mount, is it the German boy?
Yeah, Havertz.
They had their players scoring goals and playing well. Now, I'm with you, Steve. I think Chelsea are the better side, but Palace, they have a go.
Well, Palace have only lost 2 games this year. It was the first game against Arsenal and it was against Man City.
Yeah.
Vieira's no mug.
No mug.
Chelsea have got a lot to do here. I think the draw is a big player in this particular game. So we're on 3
draws, okay.
Steve, the floor's all yours. Fulham, another home victory?
Well, it would be nice. There's a little bit of a rumour circulating that Alexander Mitrovic picked up an injury, but obviously we're hoping that that is just a rumour and he's available. Newcastle have got a number of players who have been out injured.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. We know that Alexander Isak, the new signing, is scheduled to be out, and there are injuries to Callum Wilson, Alexander St-Maximin. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of team Eddie Howe puts out. It's going to be a tough game. We know that Newcastle started well, but they found it hard to sort of win games. So I'm hoping that we could catch them. We are without Palhinha, who has picked up five bookings already. Scored a tremendous goal for us at Forest. He will be missed. This is the sort of game that I'd be disappointed to lose, but I think it's going to be quite tight, quite hard to win.
Who's the boy who plays for you with the prox-sided hair? He's a very good player.
Is that the Man United boy, Pereira?
What's his name?
Pereira.
He's had a good season.
Good season.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see how well he does, sort of playing on a really cold, snowy, Tuesday night somewhere. But he's so far he's looked good on the ball. He's comfortable on the ball, and he's fine, sort of Mitrovic and the others with some good passing. So,
good player.
He's at the moment he's fitted in, slotted in very well. Look, we haven't changed the team enormously, but the players we brought in just started to find their feet. Diop had a really good game. So it'd be interesting to see who he starts with. As I say, we've got a couple. Anthony Robinson could be out injured, so he might be playing Tim Ream again on the left side of a 3. And it worked very well at Forest, particularly in the second half. So, I think it's going to be a tight game. I'm hoping I can find somewhere to watch it here. I'm still trying to sort that out, as I'm going to be away for another few days.
Well, Steve, if you're struggling, Steve, all you got to do is shoot straight at Pope. The way he played for England, you just knock it on and you can slot the equaliser.
We went around the islands of Greece and we got the games.
That'll be on.
They love the games. Premier League's very big.
Yeah. Steve, Liverpool too good for Brighton?
I would think so. I mean, obviously we've got the new manager there, but I think it'll be interesting to see how Brighton do after the shock of losing to Graham Potter. I would expect Liverpool to come back and win that.
Yeah, they don't get beat too often at Anfield, and despite all their poor form, they're not too far off the leaders. Steve, Southampton, Everton. Everton unbeaten in 5. Great result at home against West Ham. Southampton were woeful. I went for them to score against Aston Villa. This could go any way. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, they are very inconsistent, Southampton. They're often better on the road than they are at home. But as you say, Everton unbeaten. They're not winning games. I mean, they won that game, but they're hard to beat. And I think Frank Lampard's got them working hard. They're still without, unfortunately up front, goals is the problem. They're without Calvert-Lewin. They just can't seem to get him fit, and there's no return date for him. Yeah. So I think they have to score Everton, and I think that's definitely their problem. I can see this being a very close, low-scoring game. It wouldn't surprise me if it ends all square, either at 0-0 or 1-1, because I just can't see Everton scoring very easily.
Paul?
Draw,
Okay. Got a funny feeling Everton won't get beat. I've been impressed with what I've seen, but I agree, goals isn't the easiest. Now, West Ham against Wolves. West Ham lost 5 out of 7.
They've got to try
Wolves
and turn
have only won 1 out of 7.
Yeah.
Steve, I fancy Wolves here. Diego Costa, I think, may start by all reports. We know how dangerous he is. West Ham, I don't know what the story is, whether at the back they're conceding goals for fun. I'm on Wolves of the two sides. How do you see it?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, obviously, we don't know if Costa's going to be available. I think he will be, and he's had a couple of weeks to get himself fit, not match fit, but fit. They're without Raul Jimenez again.
Yeah.
He's still out. He's out injured. That's obviously a worry for them. West Ham, we really can't understand what's gone wrong there. I mean, they've obviously strengthened the side, and it's not worked. You say lost 5 out of 7, but I just wonder at the London Stadium, they'll just be a little bit too strong, and I'd be surprised if they lose that.
Yeah, Jared Bowen has been woeful this year in his high standards, and he's the key man. If he doesn't turn it up, I just can't have them the way they're going at the moment. Paul, how do you see it? Do you want them?
I think Wolves play better football. They might play Costa and Prudence up front. They've got tricky players down the flank. They've got a lot of players who can play on the ball, not just 1 or 2. A lot of players. They've got midfielders who can jive, can shoot. They've been stiff. They've rolled Spurs.
Yeah.
They're a good team now. At some stage, Moyes has got to turn it round.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't this week, then it's really going to get bleak for him.
Yeah. I just can't have West Ham on current form.
Yeah,
now, the big game on Sunday is the Manchester derby, Man City, Man United. I know Stones is out. I just hope Haaland picked up a hammy, but having watched him against Serbia in midweek, that ain't happening. Steve, hard to go against Man City, but can Man United cause an upset?
Look, I mean, obviously it's a Manchester derby, and I thought last season they played well in patches, and Sanchez got a good goal. But when you look at the way both teams have been playing, obviously United have won 4 in a row, but they've not. Apart from the Arsenal game, I wouldn't say they've been overly convincing. But if City play anywhere near their best, if they get the ball to Haaland in the right place, then I think he's going to be hard to stop. And I think that could be the difference. I mean, he's just scoring goals for fun. And I just think, obviously he came unstuck during the week, but I just think City are going to be, I think it'll be close, but I think City will edge it.
Paul?
You got to go City. It's hard to, even against anyone they play, you've got to be at home. But it's a derby. Never forget it's a derby. United have been better lately. I think maybe this new coach is getting them to play. I still think he's feeling out players, Players on his bench are playing for their countries. Yeah. So I think Man City will win, but Man United will give them a game.
Let's hope we can keep the ball, because I think if Rashford starts, he hasn't been at training. Man City are woeful at the back, in my opinion.
Struggling.
Eriksen and them, but I agree. It should be Man City. Big game on Sunday. Leeds United unbeaten at home this year against an Aston Villa side who've lost 3 away from home. Watching Villa against Southampton, I didn't know if it was Southampton that was so bad or Villa played well. I like Leeds of the two teams here, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Leeds at home have been quite strong. I mean, the crowd certainly get behind them, and they don't know when to lose. Villa have been very disappointing on the road.
Yeah.
You know, reading sort of articles, they seem to think that Steven Gerrard's under a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, it's I would think that they would back him, but you know, it's all about results, and you know, this would be a bad game to lose for them. But I think of the two, I do fancy Leeds.
Yeah, totally agree. Paul, Leeds, one of your last one standing pick?
Leeds. I'm with Leeds.
Yeah, totally agree. Just something's got not right at Villa, so you know, I fancy Leeds. Now, a popular choice this weekend in last one standing will be Leicester City at home to Notts Forest. I'm all over Leicester City. I think it's last chance saloon for a lot of these players. I know a lot of them I saw playing in the Nations League during the week. Surely they've got to beat Forest, Steve.
Well, it's right. I mean, at Tottenham, in patches, they played very well. But as soon as Tottenham, you know, got that third goal, their heads went, and you know, it was a goal fest at the end. You know, they've got some good players. You know, the squad hasn't changed that much. You know, this is a huge game for Brendan Rodgers. He can't afford to lose this. And I think of the two, I mean, Forest, Steve Cooper still doesn't have any idea, I'm sure, what his best 11 are. He's got so many players against Fulham. You know, played well in little patches, but at the back, you know, we completely tore them to shreds in that sort of 6-minute spell. And I think Leicester got the players that could do the same. So I fancy a home win there.
Paul, Leicester, you're with Leicester.
Leicester all the way.
Yeah, I totally agree. They've got too many good players to be where they are.
Yeah.
Steve, on to the Money League, which is the championship. Kicks off on Friday. Hull City at home to Luton. How do you see it?
Yeah, well, Hull have had a really poor run. I mean, you know, they started off well. You know, I'm not sure what's going to happen there because the owners are not going to be, you know, that patient. I think they've spent money in the summer, but I think that Luton are just starting to show the sort of form that they had last season. I think they'd be hard to beat, you know, so I can see either a draw or an away win there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Luton seem better away from home this season. Very strange, but I can't have Hull City. Lost 5 of the last 6. Don't know how long that Turkish manager is going to last, but if he doesn't get a result this week, he could be in trouble. Steve, Blackburn are my best bet of the weekend. I know that on paper their form isn't the best. They've only won 2 of the last 7, but Millwall away from home have been poor. I think 13 to 10 is a gift, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, they were in my top 2 or 3 as the best bet. I think they will win. I think they'll be too strong. But Millwall are a funny side. You know, they've disappointed this year, but can turn it on. So I think Blackburn should win, but I think it might be closer than you think.
Yeah, just, you know, if they got all the players up front, they score goals. Millwall cost me dearly, especially at home. Steve, big game for Blackpool hosting Norwich City. Norwich City, I think they're joint favourites to win the league. Can Blackpool cause an upset?
I think they can, but I'm not sure they will. I think that Norwich are on a really good run at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, they're just sort of starting to show the form that we expect. And I think Evans is probably, as it was, it's a pretty decent price, you know, in the top 2. And I think they'll go there and they'll get a result.
Yeah, it's a funny ground, that Bloomfield Road. I went there. The surface is always bumpy, and I think that's the problem. Norwich, good footballing side. I agree. Just, yeah, that's the one game that's got me stumped. But I agree, it should be Norwich. Now, Bristol City, who I've watched at home, played Ashton Gate. They've won their last 3 at home against a QPR team who're starting to find a bit of form. Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, I think there'll be goals, but I think that, as you say, Bristol won the last 3 at home. They're scoring goals. They've got a couple of good young players. I mean, they sell, you know, one of often their best players, but they still seem to produce 1 or 2. I think that they'll be too strong for QPR, and I think there'll be goals, but I think the home team will win.
Okay. Cardiff City, Burnley. Cardiff City, I saw fired their manager. You know, it's strange because I know of all listening to the Preston review, that was a team that totally outplayed us, was Cardiff. I don't know if they've replaced him as yet, but Burnley are going well, Steve.
4th.
Yeah, I was surprised because, in fact, they started the season well, Cardiff. They beat Norwich, but I think Burnley are just starting to find a bit of form. They're a hard team to beat, and I think that they'll go there full of confidence, and I think Burnley should win that.
Okay, disappointing sides. Next up, Coventry City against Middlesbrough. Coventry they've only played 7, but they haven't won in 7. Middlesbrough, a lot of teams fancy to get close, Steve. I don't see Middlesbrough losing, but 16 to 10 is a big price. Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, Coventry have really been hamstrung by not being able to play those home games. And as you say, we're really a bit of a surprise package last season and haven't won in 7. Middlesbrough, likewise, I thought would be top 3 this year. Really very inconsistent and struggling. But I think of the two, I still fancy Middlesbrough to, if there was to be a winner, for it to be the away team.
Yeah, I agree. You know, 1 point from the last 4 away league games, Middlesbrough. Of the two, I fancy them. Steve, I'm all over Reading here. I watched them beat Stoke. They score goals for fun. I know at the back they're a little bit dodgy. You know, Paul Ince's team, he's done a good job. Huddersfield have been woeful. You know, I think 13 to 10 is a good price, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I fancy Reading. Huddersfield have just appointed Mark Fotheringham as their new manager.
Okay.
Hasn't got much managerial experience, and you know they're having a shocking time. Although sometimes with a new manager, you know they have a bit of a bounce. But I fancy Reading to win that one quite comfortably.
Now Rotherham, whose manager left, Paul Warner, went to Derby County. I don't know if they've done great at home, but so have Wigan. These two teams, I think, both got promoted last year, Steve.
They did. Rotherham for me have been a surprise package, particularly at home. But you know, I think they'll be disappointed losing their manager.
Yeah,
Warner. He's a good manager in the lower divisions, and you know he's obviously taken a step down as far as division is concerned. But he obviously feels that Derby are a bigger club, and you know they're getting their finances sorted out. I think Rotherham, you know, assuming that they're not a bit too shell-shocked, I think would probably come out on top. Wigan, on the other hand, you know, still a hard team to beat. You know, they haven't set the division alight, but I think there'll be goals, but I think Rotherham might just edge it.
Yeah, strange. Wigan are unbeaten in 5 away from home, and they won their last 3. I think a draw, a big player there, but as you say, it's going to be a tight game. Steve, on to the final page. Sheffield United going great, 5 to 10. That should be a gift, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean they're top. They're scoring goals, and I think they'll be too strong, and they should win. You know, they should win by a couple of goals. Yeah,
definitely look form side to come straight back up. Now the big game, especially for me, Sunderland Preston. My Preston fans are going they're going berserk. We can't score. We outplayed Sheffield United. 2 mistakes. We got beat 2-0. But Sunderland are a funny team. They play good football. I think there's goals in this, Steve. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. You know, as you say, Preston are very hard to beat, but struggling to score. Sunderland, on the other hand, are scoring goals, and there'll be another big crowd there. And I think of the two, I'm afraid I think Sunderland probably, you know, rightly start as favourites.
Yeah, I think we can sneak a draw there myself, but we're going to have to score at least 2 goals. And we need Troy Parrott to turn up. Scored for Ireland the other day. Boys love him, but he's just missing chance after chance. But anyway, hopefully this week he can rebound. Steve, West Brom Swansea. I don't think Steve Bruce has got much longer. If they don't get a result the next few weeks, I think he could be fired. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they had a really poor result last time out at home when they lost to Birmingham. Swansea for me are a bit of an enigma. That you know they should be doing better than they are. Yeah. They had a good win last time out. I think of the two. I think you're right. I fancy Swansea of the two, and I think that Steve Bruce won't have long left if he doesn't start winning very soon.
Yeah, you can't win one of your last 5 home league games. You've got to get a result. Yeah. Steve, last but not least on Sunday, Stoke against Watford. You know, with Slaven Bilic taking over at Watford and they're keeping all those youngsters. Of the two, I fancy Watford. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, again, it could be the new manager bounce. Obviously, he's got to turn their form. I think they're sitting in 10th. He's got to turn things around fairly quick. Stoke, on the other hand, very up and down. You really don't know what you're going to get from them. Yeah. Obviously, they've got a new manager in. I think it'll be, you know, for me, I can see this being a draw. You know, I think they might cancel each other out. And I think it might be a week or 2 before Slaven Bilic gets to grip with the players he's got, because they weren't all available for him and he's only just got there. So, I can see a draw there.
Yeah, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Steve, pressure time as always. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, tough. I'm going to go for Reading as my best bet.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been one of a number, but I'm going to go for Reading. I think they should be too strong. They are inconsistent. They don't draw games. They either win or lose, and I think this could be a win. And my value bet, Paul Muller, I'm going to go for Tottenham. I just think 26 to 10. 26 to 10, you know, they're scoring goals, and I think that it could be a really good game. I'm looking forward, and I know where I've already found where I'm going to be watching it here on Saturday. So,
Stevie, you little beauty.
Yeah. Stevie, hopefully it's not on your cell phone that you're watching. So hopefully.
Having said that, I still won't be picking Tottenham as my last one standing.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, enjoy, and we'll speak to you a bit later. All the best.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Cheers, bye-bye. Right, MTN, semi-finals.
First leg, Paul said.
First leg. Pirates, Sundowns, and Chiefs and Amazulu. Good teams.
Good teams, Paul. You know, you got to fancy Sundowns, but as we said the last time in the knockout, the first leg, teams don't want to get beat.
Yes.
Keep it tight. So the draws are big players in both of them. I still fancy Sundowns, but Pirates are improving, Paul, but they don't score. That's my problem with Pirates. I've watched them a couple of times. Sundowns a better team. 13 to 10 is a great price, Paul. Only skepticism is, it is the first leg. And I don't see Amazulu losing against Chiefs, Paul. They played a couple of weeks ago and they drew 0-0. You know, it'll be a tight game. You know, I've watched Chiefs a few times. I'm not impressed. But, you know, they are a good cup side over the years. They haven't won much.
And they both played on Saturday at the same time?
No, Sunday is the Chiefs game.
Oh, they're apart. Okay, lovely. Lovely, but that's
both tight games, Paul. I think under 2.5 goals, I think, would be the right play. But if you were having a bet, I like Sundowns in the draw in the Chiefs game. Right,
give me your score 6.
Yeah, on to Gold Circle score 6, Paul. I'm going Tottenham win and draw at home. Away at Arsenal. I don't see Bournemouth beating Brentford, so Brentford in the draw. Chelsea, Paul, I think that's got draw written all over it. Crystal Palace, I'm going Chelsea and the draw. I think Fulham can upset Newcastle, Paul, but I've thrown the draw in as well. Liverpool do look the banker of the weekend, and I fancy Wolves to get at least a point at West Ham United, 192. Onto the Phumelela Soccer 6, I'm going Tottenham in a draw again at Arsenal. I'm banking Sundowns to beat Orlando Pirates. Brentford win and draw at Bournemouth. Chelsea win and draw at Crystal Palace. Fulham win and draw at home against Newcastle. And I fancy Everton to get at least a point at Southampton, 192. On to our score 10. I'm going Tottenham win and draw at Arsenal. Brentford win and draw at Crystal Palace. And Chelsea, another away win and draw at Crystal Palace. I'm going for Fulham to avoid defeat at home against Newcastle United. Banking Liverpool to be too strong at home against Brighton. Onto the second page, I'm chancing Everton to avoid defeat at Southampton. Going Atletico Madrid, win and draw away at Seville. I'm going Wolverhampton Wanderers, win and draw at West Ham, and ending up with 2 bankers. AC Milan to be too strong at Empoli, and Barcelona to continue their fine form in La Liga at Real Mallorca, 256. On to the Soccer 13, which is really tricky as normal. I'm going Wolves, win and draw at West Ham. Banking Chelsea to win at Crystal Palace. Liverpool to be too good at home against Brighton. I'm going Fulham, win and draw against Newcastle United. Everton, win and draw at Southampton. Another away club, Brentford, to avoid defeat at Bournemouth. I'm going Bristol City, banker at home against Queen's Park Rangers. The second page, I'm banking Blackburn Rovers to beat Millwall, Norwich to beat Blackpool, Burnley to beat Cardiff, siding with Middlesbrough to avoid defeat at home away at Coventry City, and Wigan to avoid defeat at Rotherham United. And I'm chancing my boys, Preston North End, to avoid defeat at Sunderland, 256.
All right, Budgie's bets,
Paul. Yeah, I'm going Tottenham, Hotspur and Wolves, both with a goal handicap. Paul, it's a double chance, Tottenham and Wolves to avoid defeat. I'm going Liverpool to beat Brighton and Leicester to beat Notts Forest, and over 2.5 total goals in each game, 2,900 to 200. My Premiership team goal sides, it's a treble this week. I think Tottenham, Wolves and Leicester will all score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2 goals, 2,800 to 200. Onto the Championship, I'm going Blackburn Rovers to beat Millwall, Reading to beat Huddersfield, and Preston and Watford, both handicap +1 goal, so it's a double chance. Preston at Sunderland and Watford at Stoke City on Sunday, 2,800 to 200. Our championship, both teams to score sides are Hull City Luton, Bristol City QPR, West Brom Swansea City, and Stoke Watford, 2,000 to 200. On to Spain, because the PSL's only got 2 games, so I'm going Getafe to beat Real Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano to beat Elche, and both teams to score in the Celta Vigo Real Betis and Girona Real Sociedad game, 2,600 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nexa, I'm going Liverpool to beat Brighton, Leicester to beat Notts Forest, Blackburn to beat Millwall, Sheffield United to beat Birmingham City, Barcelona to beat Mallorca, and Real Madrid to beat Osasuna, 3,000 to 200.
Okay,
so
that's excellent. I do like your bets this week. Let's hope it comes right. So we're getting the message out to everybody.
Yeah,
We've got to get
through today, Paul. But a lot of people have been notified, but the clip will go out to everybody today. No excuses. I'll obviously send them the written one tomorrow, and they'll all be notified. Yeah, guys are all decent about it, Paul.
All right. Until next time, stay on side.